Good evening, good evening, good evening, Trubies. This is Sean the King here to bring you another action packed episode review for season 5 of True Blood, episode 8. Now, before I get started with my review, I need to say something. If any of you guys have checked out my first and second videos for this season, I was very, very upset. And at the time, I had validation for being upset. It was a lot of things that they were doing with this season that I did not agree with. Just all the intersecting storylines, all of the just random people getting their own storylines that I felt didn't need them, and just in general the way the storyline and just the show in general had been going for the past couple of seasons. Now again, I do feel like so far this season, as we are in episode 8 of the season, which is pretty much I think a little bit more than halfway to halfway point. I think True Blood seasons are about 12 to 13 episodes. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think we're about halfway through. Uh, this season in general is definitely picking up steam. I mean, I can't even, I can't even say it's picking up steam. Steam has been picked up and has been put into the train, and that motherfucking train is driving all the way to Timbuktu or whatever the hell you want to call it. Just in general, this season is definitely bringing back shades of season 1, and I am loving it. Again, there's still a couple of storylines in general that I could do without, but overall, I'm very happy with this season. But enough of me, fanboying about True Blood. Let's actually get into the review of my thoughts. All right, so I'm going to jump around here a little bit because, again, I'm not going to do a full recap. I'm just going to tell you about the certain situation and my thoughts on it. And I'm going to actually start with Sam Merlot. Sam has been playing his detective. He's almost like Matlock mixed with Scooby Doo, and it's kind of awesome because he can also shapeshift. So he's got his detective cap on, but he can also turn into a cobra and interrogate you at the same time. So that's kind of badass, and I like this kind of Sam. Usually in other seasons we see him cooped up in that damn bar, and he's either fawning over Sookie or fawning over somebody, always angry or always has some issues. He's still angry this season, but at least he has some sort of a purpose and some sort of focus that he can just put his mind to. And again, we get to actually see him use his abilities more this season, which is always a thumbs up. Now, what ends up happening with him is if you remember from last episode, he had tracked down one of the haters. I'm going to start calling these the super haters. He tracked down one of the super haters and proceeded to beat his butt. He ended up getting arrested and taken to the station for questioning. That's when I said before, Sam ends up turning into a cobra and finds out that their team have captured Jessica. Now, Jessica, I mean, she was at Fantasia dancing around. Some guy, he basically tricked her into, trying to suck his blood, and they captured her. Now, of course, again, we all know that, what you call it was not going to kill Jessica. Hoyt is a big punk at the end of the day. And again, not to say I wanted him to kill Jessica, but we all know that even though he was telling those guys that he hates Jessica, we knew he wasn't going to kill Jessica. So to me, there was never any fear in my heart that he was going to actually shoot Jessica. You don't just love somebody as much as he loves her, how much he's obsessed with her, and then think you can just kill her. So of course he frees her. She ends up getting away, killing the guy who quote unquote called her some sort of milkshake, and he ends up going off to try to get help. But luckily, Sam and the sheriff, they all knew about what was going on from the interrogation and was able to go in and find Jessica. And towards the end of the episode, it looks like Hoyt was lost, and it looks like the dragon must have pulled up and pulled a gun out on him and tried to capture him. That's why he said he's glad to see a friendly face. Now again, I made a comment in my last video on who I thought Dragon was, and actually, again, I'm pretty sure I know who the dragon is. And again, spoiler alert, if you guys don't want to know who the dragon is, just skip forward about 30 seconds. But again, this is just theory. This isn't anything confirmed. This is just my thoughts. I think Dragon is the old sheriff. Again, the one that gave the power to Annie Belfleur. And the main reason why I think that is because in the season where he actually stopped being the sheriff, one of the biggest reasons that he left was the fact that he hates supers. He was tired of dealing with all the supernatural people. He hated all the supernatural people, and he couldn't take it anymore, and he just quit. So again, he has prime reason to hate them, prime reason to want to get rid of them. So there we have it. Now, speaking of that, would give them actually a good reason to hate supers, as I'm going to jump over to the Authority storyline, which is going on in full force. And essentially, all the head vampires basically want to turn humans into hungry man meals. Because seriously, they were chomping down on us like we were good burgers. They got back from their little New Orleans orgy fest, kill fest, or whatever you want to call it. And it's almost like they just got back from a winning game, and they're just all high and drunk, and they're just walking around and like dancing and just like in a euphoric state. It was crazy. It was actually kind of cool. So now basically their whole plan is again that Lilith. This is one thing. Let me just stop right there and say this. One thing, again, religion is always a touchy subject to talk about in general, but I feel like what they're doing is just like it's getting ridiculous, because now it's to the point that everyone's seeing Lilith. Now, if you want somebody to do something, just say Lilith said do it. So it's just like, well, we want you to feed on this baby. Well, I don't want to feed on this baby. How dare you not say that? Lilith said eat this damn baby, or you're committing blasphemy, so we should just rip your head off. I'm like, Lilith didn't say that. You were saying that because you want me to do it, and you're going to put Lilith's name in it to make me do it. And that's kind of what happened with Eric. I mean, not Eric, but with Bill. I think her name is Miranda. I think her name is. She called him in for a quote unquote midnight snack, and it was a young girl, and we actually ended up getting an awesome flashback from Bill. And again, like, I love these flashbacks. It's, it always gives you a little bit more history on them. And apparently, Bill's daughter wanted to be turned into a vampire, and Bill would not allow it. He did not want to curse his daughter with, immortality. And again, the chick is dying on a deathbed, probably dying from like SARS or, typhoid. She probably had some sort of organ trail disease. And, I probably would have wanted to be turned into a vampire too, because she didn't look good. She was sick as hell. But again, he didn't turn her. So again, he ends up killing the young lady because, again, the woman said if he didn't do it, and Lilith told him to eat her, and if he didn't do it, it's blasphemy. So, of course, Bill had to go ahead and eat her. So, again, just in general, that whole Lilith said thing is going to become a problem. And, again, that does become a problem when Eric goes to talk to his sister, Nora, and she is basically, and this kind of made me mad. When she said, fuck Godric, I was like, talk about Godric like that. But it's Lilith. She's under the influence right now. She's out of her head. So we'll let it pass. But, clearly Eric was just as upset about it as me, so he proceeded to choke her for a while. I mean, you can't be talking about Godric. Godric is Godric. So he was a little crazy before he died, but it was still Godric. So, I was a little bit pissed at that. Now, one of the other little storylines that's actually getting a little bit intense, and I'm actually starting to like it a little bit. This whole Enfrit thing going on with the Belfours. Like I said, that was probably one of the dumbest storylines that I thought I heard about at the beginning. But again, like I said, it's starting to grow on me a little bit. Essentially, they called Andy back to, is it Andy? It's Terry. Oh, it's Terry. I'm sorry. I keep getting Terry and Andy mixed up. So as Terry comes back, she tells him something about fire. He comes rushing back. And Lafayette decides to be their medium and try to talk to the woman. And of course, he was going to make that shit all up for $300, and that's what he was going to do. But then come to find out, the woman actually shows up, and she's like, the only way she's going to break that curse is if one of them kill each other. So if Terry kills his friend, or if the friend kills Terry, whoever the one is left is the one that won't be killed. So that one was actually kind of interesting. We'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll get some sort of kind of like Hunger Games kind of thing. They'll go in the woods and start trying to hunt each other down. Who knows? All right, so one of the last other things I want to talk about before I go is the Sookie storyline. Sookie kind of had a out-of-body experience, I'll put it to you like that. She and her fairy friends went to go to the scene of the crime where her parents died, and they had some sort of ability that, she can connect with the people that's in that area and figure and see back into the past, essentially. She does that and comes to find out the guy who kills her is a guy. We know now it's a guy. We also know now that it is not Bill, it's not Eric, it's not Godric, and it's not Russell Edgington. It's some guy named Wooly or Worry or something with a W. I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure you guys will tell me in the comment section. But Again, this is a new character. He looks kind of menacing though. He had on like a little trench coat and the hat and the rain and all this other stuff. It was kind of crazy. And Suki was able to look through his eyes as well as his mother's eyes. And again, I don't know if that's some sort of fairy vampire hybrid kind of thing, or maybe she wasn't supposed to go through that whole situation. But whatever the case may be, whatever she did, now that guy has a link with Suki. Because later on in the episode where she's in the shower or getting out of the shower, that guy's image starts projecting through the light, and it's like, he's like, I'm gonna find you, Suki. So, that was kind of crazy as well. And that's pretty much it. But again, like I said, overall, I'm gonna give this episode a solid 4 out of 5. Definitely like where all these storylines are going, and I'm definitely excited to see what's going on next episode. Because again, when you look at the previews, it looks like all hell is breaking loose. But again, I want to know what you guys think about this episode. Was this fantastic? Did you guys enjoy? Let me get your thoughts. Of course, thumb up the video if you could. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, subscribe, because I want to keep doing these videos, and I'm like to bring these to you guys as quickly as possible. So if you want to get the heads up on it first, just check out my subscription page, click the button, and I'll get those up to you. This is Sean of the King, and you guys have an awesome evening.